If you've ever looked at the calendar and felt a cold shiver of panic because it's already mid-year, you've felt the shadow of Alan Burdick's Why Time Flies. Why does a workday drag like a century, but a vacation vanish like a dream? Is time a physical wall we're crashing into, or a hallucination we're all having together? Welcome to a deep dive into Why Time Flies, a most scientific investigation by Alan Burdick. Burdick isn't just a science writer, he's a seeker who spent years embedded with chronobiologists, clockmakers, and brain researchers to answer a deceptively simple question: what is time? By the end of this summary, you aren't just going to understand how clocks work, you're going to understand how you work. You'll learn why your childhood summers felt eternal, how to stretch your perception of time today, and the strange truth that now doesn't actually exist. Burdick structures his journey into 3 major lessons. Let's step into the first one, the world of man-made seconds. Lesson 1, the hours and the minutes. In this first act, Burdick takes us from the ancient sundial to the terrifyingly precise atomic clocks of the modern era. Chapters 1 through 4 explore a haunting truth: clock time is a human invention that often contradicts human time. We've spent centuries trying to cage time into seconds and minutes, only to find that the more precise our clocks become, the more anxious we feel. This section teaches us that the present is a moving target and that our obsession with being on time is a very recent and often stressful human experiment. Chapter 1, the search for the present. Burdick starts his journey at the Bureau International des Poids et Mesures in France. This is the Vatican of time. He introduces us to the scientists who define what a second actually is. But the real hook here is the 80-millisecond delay. Burdick discovers that because of the time it takes for signals to travel from your nerves to your brain, you are always living in the past. You don't see the world as it is, you see a reconstructed version of what just happened. Burdick stands in a room full of atomic clocks, realizing that even though these machines are perfect, his own brain is lagging. Life lesson: acceptance of the lag. We often beat ourselves up for not being fast enough or present enough. But science shows that the now is a mental construct. Application: practice the observation gap. When you feel a sudden burst of anger or panic, remember that your brain is reacting to a past event. Give yourself a 5-second buffer before speaking. It aligns your conscious choice with the reality your brain has finally finished processing. Chapter 2, a brief history of the second. Burdick takes us back to a time when noon was just, whenever the sun was highest. If you traveled from New York to Philadelphia, you had to change your watch. Then came the railroads. To prevent trains from crashing, we had to standardize time. We turned time from a natural rhythm into a commodity. The chaos of local time before 1883, where a single train station might have 5 different clocks for 5 different rail lines. Application: implement sundial Sundays. 1 day a week, hide your watch and phone. Eat when you're hungry, sleep when you're tired. By removing the railroad structure of your life for just 24 hours, you reset your relationship with time from one of scarcity to one of abundance. Chapter 3, the timekeepers. This chapter dives into the leap second. Because the Earth is wobbling and slowing down due to the moon's gravity, the atomic clocks eventually get ahead of the planet. Scientists actually have to pause the world's clocks for 1 second to let the Earth catch up. The intense debates among scientists about whether to keep or scrap the leap second, a literal battle for the definition of reality. Life lesson: even the universe is off schedule. Application: embrace strategic imperfection. If the Earth itself can't keep a perfect 24-hour rhythm, why should your daily to-do list? Build a leap hour into your Friday. Use it to catch up on things that wobbled during the week. It reduces the guilt of being behind. Chapter 4, the most precise clock. Burdick looks at optical lattice clocks. These are so sensitive that if you raise one clock just a few inches higher than another, the higher clock ticks faster because gravity is slightly weaker. This is Einstein's relativity in a lab. A clock that is so precise it won't lose a second for the next 15 billion years, older than the age of the universe. Application: the elevation shift. When you feel stuck in a moment, physically change your environment. The brain associates different spaces with different speeds of time. Moving your laptop from a desk to a balcony doesn't just change your view, it resets your internal clock's perception of the task's duration. Lesson 2, the days and the years. In Act 2, chapters 5 to 8, we move from the metal clocks on the wall to the meat clocks inside our bodies. Burdick explores the world of chronobiology. He discovers that we don't just have a clock, we are a clock. Every cell in your liver, heart, and brain is timing its functions. This section is a wake-up call that our modern, 24/7 lifestyle is a biological nightmare, and the secret to health is synchronicity, matching our external schedules to our internal rhythms. Chapter 5, The Body's Clock. Burdick introduces the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a tiny cluster of cells in the brain that acts as the master clock. He recounts the famous cave experiments where researchers lived in total darkness for months. Without the sun, their bodies didn't stop timing, they just shifted to a free-running 25-hour day. Michel Sifry, who stayed in a cave so long his sense of time became so distorted he thought only a few days had passed when it had been a month. Application: the 10-minute light anchor. To keep your master clock from drifting like the cave dwellers, you must see natural light within 30 minutes of waking. This pins your SCN to the Earth's rotation, drastically improving sleep quality and daytime focus. Chapter 6, The Rhythms of Life. It's not just one clock, it's a symphony. Burdick explains that your body temperature, your hormone levels, and even your peak math-solving ability change depending on the hour. He looks at why heart attacks are more common in the morning. It's the body's clock ramping up blood pressure for the day. The discovery that time of day can determine whether a surgery is successful or if a vaccine is more effective. Application: chronotyping your calendar. Stop doing creative work when your body is in a metabolic trough, usually 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Use your peak, usually mid-morning, for the hardest 20% of your work. Working with your rhythm makes time feel like it's supporting you rather than resisting you. Chapter 7, The Jet Lag of the Soul. Burdick tackles social jet lag. This is the gap between what your body wants, to sleep until 9 a.m., and what your boss wants, to be at your desk at 8 a.m. He argues that living out of sync with your internal clock is a form of chronic biological stress. The weekend shift, how sleeping in on Saturday and Sunday moves your internal time zone to the middle of the Atlantic, making Monday feel like a 3,000-mile flight. Consistency is the bridge between time and health. Application: the 1-hour rule. Never let your weekend wake-up time vary by more than 1 hour from your weekday time. This keeps your soul and body in the same time zone, eliminating that Sunday scary feeling of displacement. Chapter 8, The Seasons of Us. Does time feel different in the winter? Burdick looks at the yearly rhythm. He discovers that humans once had a much stronger seasonal clock. Our metabolisms actually slow down in the winter, yet we try to maintain the same high-octane summer pace year-round. Research on seasonal affective disorder and how artificial light has tricked our bodies into thinking it's always summer. Application: seasonal goal setting. Stop setting high-pressure New Year's resolutions in the dead of winter when your biology wants to hibernate. Set your big action goals in the spring and use the winter force strategy and rest. You'll find you're more successful when you align your ambition with your biology. Lesson 3, The Perception of Time. The final act, chapters 9 to 12, addresses the question in the book's title. Burdick explores the psychology of time. Why does it speed up as we age? Why does it slow down in a crisis? This is where the science gets emotional. We learn that time is essentially memory. This section gives us the ultimate keys to life extension, not by adding years to our lives, but by adding thickness to our seconds. Chapter 9, Why Time Flies. This is the aha moment of the book. Burdick explains that our brain doesn't have a stopwatch, it has a memory density meter. When we are kids, everything is new: first kiss, first bike ride. The brain records these in high detail. As adults, we fall into routine. The brain compresses the commute, the office work, and the chores because they aren't new data. Burdick's realization that a month of vacation feels longer than a month of work because the vacation is packed with novelty. Routine kills the perception of time. Application: the novelty injection. To slow down your week, do one first every day. Take a new road home, eat with your non-dominant hand, or listen to a genre of music you hate. These glitches in your routine force the brain to record, making the week feel twice as long when you look back on it. Chapter 10: Time and the Child. Burdick observes his own children and notes how they exist in an eternal now. They haven't developed mental time travel yet. They don't worry about next Tuesday because next Tuesday doesn't exist to them. A touching observation of his sons playing in a park, where a single hour of digging in the dirt is an entire epoch of their lives. Application: the single tasking hour. For 1 hour a day, do something unproductive. Play a game, draw, or walk without a destination. By removing the goal, the future, you re-enter the childhood state where time expands because you aren't trying to get somewhere. Chapter 11: The Specious Present. How long is now? Burdick discovers it's roughly 2 to 3 seconds. That is the window of our working memory. Anything longer than that is already the past. He explores how athletes stretch this window through intense focus. The oddball effect. If you show someone a series of identical images and then one odd image, they will swear the odd image stayed on the screen longer, even if the timing was identical. Focus creates duration. Application: the oddball practice. When you're in a boring meeting, find one odd thing to focus on: the texture of the wall, the sound of the air conditioner. By focusing on a specific, non-routine detail, you trick your brain into recording the moment more deeply, making your life feel more present. Chapter 12: The End of Time. In the finale, Burdick faces the reality of mortality. He realizes that time flying is actually a sign of a life well lived. It means we are moving through the world efficiently. But he concludes that the goal isn't to stop time, but to inhabit it. A reflection on his journey and the realization that his obsession with measuring time was actually a way of avoiding the fear of its ending. Mortality is what makes time valuable. Application: the life review. At the end of every day, write down 3 time anchors, 3 specific, new things you noticed. This uncompresses your day in your memory, ensuring that even as the clock ticks, your life feels like a vast, unhurried landscape. Alan Burdick's Why Time Flies teaches us that while the clock is a machine, time is a feeling. It's the texture of our memories and the rhythm of our cells. But I want to know, what part of your life felt like it lasted forever? Was it a long summer, a difficult job, or a moment of pure joy? Drop your story in the comments below. Let's talk about how we perceive our now. If you found value in this deep dive, you are exactly the kind of person we built the BloomShelf Hub for. We believe that the best way to grow is to stand on the shoulders of giants, one book at a time. If you want to keep expanding your mind and reclaiming your time, hit that like button, subscribe, and join our community of thinkers. Stay tuned to the BloomShelf Hub. We've got more life-changing summaries coming your way to help you live better, smarter, and more intentionally. Thanks for watching, and remember, the clock is ticking, so make sure you're the one winding it. Stay tuned.